Imagine a superstar who rarely talks about his private life, suddenly confessing the one thing that captures his heart the most about his co-star.
Sounds like a drama scene, right?
But this time, it wasn't fiction. It was Yang himself, and the person who left him speechless is none other than the dazzling Dilraba Dilmurat. In the ever-glittering world of Chinese entertainment, there are moments that slip quietly into the spotlight and suddenly hold the attention of millions. One such moment came when Yang, known for his reserved nature and his almost flawless image as a leading man, was asked a question that seemed simple on the surface yet carried the weight of years of speculation. For as long as audiences can remember, his on-screen chemistry with Dilraba Dilmurat has sparked curiosity and endless debate. Were they simply colleagues with undeniable professional synergy, or was there a deeper story that neither had chosen to share? This question lingered in the air during a recent interview that quickly became the talk of social media. Yang, usually so careful and measured with his words, found himself placed in a warm and teasing setting, surrounded by laughter and gentle curiosity from a host and crew. When asked what he thought about Dilraba the very first time they met, he hesitated for a fraction of a second, then admitted that her presence had captivated him immediately. He described her elegance, the aura she carried that seemed impossible to capture in words. For the audience, these words already felt unusually candid, coming from someone known for guarding his privacy so closely. But then came the question that shifted everything. Which part of Dilraba did he find the most attractive? What followed was not a scripted response or a rehearsed line meant to maintain an image. Instead, it was a moment of sincerity. Yang paused, looked down for a brief instant as though searching for the right words, and with a soft chuckle admitted that it was her eyes. He spoke of them with a kind of detail that suggested more than admiration, describing how her gaze held both warmth and intensity, how it had the power to make him lose focus even in the middle of filming. In that instant, the room filled with laughter and cheers, yet the audience beyond the cameras sensed something even more powerful, an honesty that could not be faked. This was the moment that turned a casual interview into a revelation, one that blurred the line between performance and reality, leaving fans breathless and eager to believe they had just witnessed a rare glimpse into Yang's true feelings. The air in the studio seemed to shift the moment Yang's answer left his lips. It was not a casual remark, nor the kind of polished line that actors often prepare for public appearances. Instead, it felt as though he had peeled back a layer of his carefully guarded persona and allowed the world a glimpse of something tender and genuine. With a quiet smile, he admitted that it was Dilraba's eyes that captivated him most. At first, the crew responded with laughter and playful cheers, treating his words as a light-hearted confession, but the way he continued to speak revealed something far more profound. He described her eyes as possessing an extraordinary power, able to carry both a softness that disarms and a depth that unsettles, as though they could reveal truths without a single word spoken. He admitted that during filming, when she would look at him with that gaze, he sometimes lost his sense of focus, forgetting the lines that had been rehearsed countless times. To fans who watched this moment unfold, his words did not sound like the flattery of a co-star, but like the unguarded reflection of a man deeply affected by someone who had left an imprint on him. What made the confession even more striking was the vulnerability behind it. Yang, often praised for his professionalism and his ability to maintain composure under the spotlight, seemed for once to be speaking from a place where composure did not exist. His slight pause before answering, the way his eyes flickered downward as though reliving the moments he described, and the shy smile that followed all carried an authenticity that was impossible to script. This was not the voice of a man carefully crafting an image, but of someone allowing himself to be human in front of an audience that rarely sees such intimacy. The truth of his admiration became undeniable when he added, almost as an afterthought, that her smile was another quality he could not ignore. He called it a weapon, not because it was sharp or harsh, but because it was real, unpretentious, and capable of breaking down barriers without effort. That single detail transformed his confession from a charming anecdote into a moment of emotional depth, hinting at a connection that extends beyond the boundaries of performance. For the millions who later watched and re-watched that clip, it was clear that Yang had spoken from his heart, and in doing so, had given them a memory to treasure, a confession that felt as fragile and genuine as love itself. The moment Yang's confession was released to the public, it felt as though the internet itself took a collective breath. What began as a simple interview clip quickly spiraled into a phenomenon that dominated social media feeds, comment sections, and fan forums across the globe. Within hours, hashtags carrying their names trended on Weibo, TikTok compilations began circulating, and international fan pages lit up with translations of his words. Viewers from every corner of the world seemed to agree that this was no ordinary exchange. It was raw, unscripted, and filled with an intimacy that resonated beyond language or culture. Fans described feeling as though they had witnessed something sacred, a fleeting moment where Yang, known for his restraint, finally revealed a truth he had long kept hidden. What deepened the impact was Dilraba's response. When asked at a separate event about Yang's admission, she lowered her eyes for a brief second, smiled with a mixture of shyness and warmth, and softly said, "That's so sweet. I like his eyes too." Her words were simple, yet they carried an energy that electrified the atmosphere around her. The audience at the event erupted into cheers, while those who later watched the clip online confessed that the interaction made their hearts race. It was not just the words themselves but the authenticity of her reaction, the faint blush, the playful sincerity, that made fans believe they were witnessing the kind of connection rarely seen in the highly controlled world of celebrity. The ripple effect was extraordinary. Fan-created content flooded every platform, romantic edits of their drama scenes, side-by-side comparisons of the way they looked at each other, even digital artwork imagining the two as a real-life couple. For many, it felt less like speculation and more like confirmation of something long suspected. Media outlets joined in, publishing articles that framed Yang's confession as a significant shift in the narrative surrounding their relationship, and entertainment journalists debated whether this could be the strongest signal yet that their chemistry extended beyond the screen. Beyond the noise, what stood out most was the emotional connection felt by the public. Strangers across different countries found themselves united in a shared excitement, a belief that love, whether real or imagined, could still create a sense of wonder. In a world often saturated with cynicism, Yang and Dilraba's exchange reminded audiences of the magic in vulnerability, and that even in the glare of fame, two people could still make hearts melt with something as simple as a look and a smile. What makes this moment between Yang and Dilraba so unforgettable is not simply the sweetness of his words, but the rare window it provides into the heart of a man who has built his career on discipline, privacy, and an almost impenetrable professionalism. For years, Yang has been admired not only for his talent and striking appearance, but also for the way he has carefully kept his personal life hidden from the relentless eyes of the media. Unlike many celebrities who thrive on exposure, he has always chosen silence, allowing his work to speak for him. That is precisely why his admission carried such weight. It was not a casual compliment delivered for the sake of fan service, but a moment where he seemed to set aside the protective walls around his private world and speak as himself. In doing so, he revealed something genuine, something that felt more personal than any role he has played on screen. For Dilraba, the significance is equally profound. Her career has been marked by beauty, talent, and relentless scrutiny, yet here was her co-star recognizing her not just for her physical charm but for something deeper. By focusing on her eyes and her smile, symbols of sincerity rather than glamour, Yang placed emphasis on qualities that transcend superficial attraction. It suggested admiration not just for her appearance, but for the essence of who she is, the way she carries warmth and honesty even in the most pressured circumstances. This subtle distinction did not go unnoticed by fans, who immediately sensed the authenticity of his admiration. The wider importance of this moment lies in its ability to remind audiences why they fall in love with stories, both fictional and real. In an industry often accused of manufacturing drama and orchestrating publicity stunts, here was a confession that appeared unscripted and uncalculated, a spark of humanity shining through the machinery of fame. It is this sincerity that allowed fans to see themselves in the moment, to believe that genuine admiration and unspoken affection can still exist even under the harshest lights of celebrity culture. Perhaps that is why the clip spread so quickly, because it offered not just entertainment, but hope that even in the most artificial of settings, something real can emerge. And for those who watched, it was not just about Yang and Dilraba anymore, but about the timeless longing to witness love in its purest, most unguarded form.
Inspirational touch.
This isn't just about eyes or smiles. It's about how two people, under the brightest spotlights, can still create genuine, heartwarming moments. In a world full of rumors and staged appearances, Yang and Dilraba remind us that sincerity still has the power to touch millions. So, is this the beginning of something more, or just a glimpse into a beautiful friendship? Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: every look, every smile between Yang and Dilraba will continue to capture hearts across the world. Thank you for watching News Stars CN. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the latest updates on your favorite stars. We appreciate your support and can't wait to bring you more inspiring stories from the world of Chinese entertainment. Stay tuned, and see you in the next video.